It's beer o'clock on Real Ale Craft Beer, and I'm really excited today to bring you a box of beer from Fuller's. So they joined up with 6 of probably the most innovative and new-ish innovative breweries out there in the UK at the moment, and they brewed a collaboration with 6 of some of the top breweries in the UK. They got them down to Fuller's in London, and they got a collaboration going. So they did a collaboration with Thornbridge, Marble Beers, More Beer Company, Hard Knock, 4 Pure, and get this, Cloudwater Brewing Company. You know what they say in business? You innovate and you change and you evolve to survive. You cannot stand still in any industry, in any business. You have to evolve and change and adapt. And Fuller's, fair play to them, they've evolved and they've acted like a quick-heeled, lightweight boxer here with what's going on with the brewing industry around the world. The trends, the fashions, the jumping craft beer, they've jumped on it and they've said, okay, we're quite traditional, we brew quite traditional beers, although they produce fantastic imperial stouts and fantastic barley wines at Christmas and fantastic, really good, solid session ales, and that's a very difficult thing to do. You go to a pub, you get a pint of Fuller's London Pride, and it's kind of at a nice level. It's a nice level. You know you're not going to get a bad pint as long as you hit a decent pub where they look after their lines, and that's another story, yeah? So I'm really excited. I'm going to jump straight into this now. I'm going to open it and I'm going to get into, surprise, I'm going to get straight into the Cloudwater beer. Find it. That's the Galleon Dry Hop Lager. That's the New Zealand Saison. That's the Flora and Griffin. The Griffin, I think the Griffin pub is on the side of the brewery, the Fuller's brewery. This is Pete's Super, and that's by Hard Knock. And this is it. New England IPA. So they've played on the strengths really of these craft brewers. Hard Knock produced some really good stouts, and I imagine that Pea Soup is going to be fantastic. And of course, Cloudwater are very well known for their New England style IPAs. So here it is. It's available in Waitrose. They've even kind of got their own branded bottle cap. So it's available all over Waitrose in the UK. Keep an eye out for it. Without further ado then, that was the introduction. Let's get the beer out into a glass and see what we get. Nice bit of smoke on the bottle opening. Looking at that, straight away, you craft beer enthusiasts, what are you thinking? You're thinking, that looks a bit clear. Let's get it out into a glass. For a New England IPA, it really needs to have a bit of a haze on it. Simcoe, the hops are Simcoe, Olicana and Chinook. There's a slight haze there. There's a slight haze. Perhaps there's a different variation in different bottles. Perhaps some bottles are hazier than others, some bottles are clearer than others, but mine has got a slight haze on it. But really, you want it looking like muddy water, not brown muddy water. You want it looking like a light, a really light coloured ale with a lot of haze going on. This doesn't really have that. It's got a one finger white head. Let's get the aroma. Immediately, what you're thinking Cloudwater. You're thinking big, punchy aromas, fantastic hop aromas. As soon as you open the bottle, really, you can get that big plume of aroma that fills the room. You've got to get your nose in the glass. I'm not saying it's not there, but you really got to get your nose in the glass to appreciate the aroma. It's not exploding out of the glass, you know? There's a mixture of kind of Belgian candied sugar, grapefruit, orange peel, fleshy blood orange, fleshy tangerine. Let's dive in. Cheers, everybody. Oh, it's 7% ABV. Maybe Fuller's are limited with their brew kit. Maybe their brew kit has been designed to brew regional beer at a decent enough quality. They can churn beer out at a decent quality. When it comes to now innovating, and I know this because I've visited quite a few regional breweries around the UK, and they're hampered, really. This is just me being honest. I was really excited to get the box out. I was really excited that Fuller's done a collaboration with Cloudwater. Pardon me, but if I'm honest, the guys at Cloudwater, if they sat down on their desks when this arrived and they had a taste of it, it's not what they would produce at their own brewery. This is not how Cloudwater would produce a beer. It's not enough. This is just not enough for a brewer of Cloudwater's credential. Really, it's just lacking. It's lacking in the look. It really shouldn't be as clear as that. A New England IPA from Vermont in America, this is where the style come from, really should be... Really, let's have a look at this. They call this pea super. If you're watching America, pea soup is a London phrase of kind of a murky, muggy, horrible, misty day. They call it a pea super, yeah? And that's what the beer should be looking like. It's too clear. And then the taste is... I think it's Fuller's yeast. I think it's the yeast. They've used Fuller's yeast and it's fallen down. They've used British ale yeast in this beer. They've not used Vermont yeast, and it's fallen flat on its face for that reason. And I can explain this one. Regional brewers, they have their own yeast strains because they're very, very worried about infections in their brewery. They do not want. The last thing somebody like Fuller's of London wants at their brewery is a yeast infection by bringing in different yeasts from around the world. They don't want to do that because there's going to be chaos if something goes wrong. So they've played it safe and they've used their own ale yeast, and that's what's let the beer down. Not in a big, I was about to say in a big way, not in a big way. It's not a terrible beer by any means, but they've set a bar, they've set a standard, they've said we've brewed a beer with Cloudwater, which are probably at the moment the most talked about brewery in Europe. And it's just not there. It's just not there. And it's because of the British ale yeast, the traditional English ale yeast that they've used in this beer. There's a bit of grapefruit, there's a bit of citrus. It's quite impressive that there's not a lot of bitterness on the back end. That's the biggest thing that represents a New England IPA. But I really wanted this to be a fabulous beer, and I really wanted to see Fuller's being talked about as this brewery. As I introduced the review, this brewery that is nimble-footed, is able to move and jump, but to be honest with you, maybe I'll change the phrase. Maybe it's an elephant trying to tap dance. Maybe it's an elephant trying to tap dance. So I got my hands on my head. I really wanted this to work, but to be honest with you, it hasn't, and it's a real shame because it won't help Cloudwater. This, it won't help them, and it won't help Fuller's. You will get your kind of Waitrose shopper that's not really kind of clued up on the craft beer scene enough to think that this beer, yeah, this is, they may have heard of Cloudwater, they may have heard of Fuller's, they may have tried the beer, they're going, you know, this is not bad. It's not bad. But it's not great. It's not great. And I'm going to rate it. I'm going to rate it. And I'm going to give it I'm gonna have to give it a 5. I'm gonna have to give it a 5 out of 10. The reason is I can't go any higher because they've not used the right yeast. They've used Fuller's ale yeast, and it's as far away from the mark as you can possibly go for this style of beer. 5 out of 10. Thanks for watching. Please put your comments in the comments box. Subscribe to our daily beer reviews. Give us a big fat thumbs up. Boom! Cheers.